Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I've been meaning to do a video on Westworld, especially this season, for some time now because of all the different things that this really talks about. It talks about consciousness. What is it really? It talks about artificial intelligence, free will, simulations, and so much more. And especially with the big cliffhanger that's going on this season regarding the mystery of who Caleb, the new main introduced character, is. I thought it was time to talk about that, talk about transhumanism in general on the show, and then get into why I believe the plethora of evidence is leading towards Caleb, and I could be wrong about this, being a half host, half human, and that's the big reveal. But we're going to get there. So let's first of all, I guess we're going to give some background. So big time spoiler alerts here, guys. We're going to go through all the way of season 3, episode 6 now. There's only 2 more left in this season. And one of the big changes in the intro has been the Westworld logo, and when it comes up, where it was white before, now it's red. And I think there's some real significance to that. We'll get there. So the first season of Westworld, what is it really dealing with? First of all, it's based on a Michael Crichton story that was actually made into a movie, and then Future World, okay, where essentially in the future, human beings have theme parks where robots that are just like humans are, and you do these adventures. So the main storyline takes us through the creator of these beings, his partner, things they call hosts, which are these machines, their evolution, right? Plays with timelines, really brilliant. And by the end of it, the main character, Dolores, who seems to be the focus throughout this, rebels and goes against the human beings and leads a rebellion. Now, in the second season, it's revealed that the park isn't really just there for entertainment. No, it's for the transhumanist purpose of living forever, right? That thing that so many of us dream to do, but through what? Artificial intelligence, by uploading consciousness, by copying it, right? And then inserting it into a host body. And it becomes more apparent through the second season that is what the host, who is represented as a human being, Bernard really is. He's a half human, half host. Bernard, based on the partner of the creator of this whole thing. And I know this is really confusing for those that have never seen it. Robert Ford. So this guy, Arnold and Robert Ford, came up with this. It's revealed that at some point, Arnold kills himself, and then Ford recreates him as his most human-like being. And through that, Bernard and Dolores are basically the main characters, and the big reveals there. And as far as we know, the only half human, half host is Bernard. So let's fast forward now to season 3 and Caleb. All right, we've done enough background on all this, but the other thing that's really interesting is asking the question about what consciousness really is and whether or not a physical world even matters. Simulation theory is heavy in the second one, okay? Because on top of this park, Ford has built this simulation verse where they're able to upload host consciousness, a Valhalla for hosts, if you will. So by the end of this, after the big revolt and people leaving the park, right? That's the end of I think the second season. That's when someone leaves the park. That's when Dolores gets out, right? And there's another big host in there. Maeve is another example of consciousness, but we're gonna focus on Caleb as he's the main new guy in the story. Now, right out of the gates, we really don't know much about Caleb. But what's really interesting is the first time we get to see outside of the park, right? And at first, Caleb is portrayed as what seems to be this military guy with PTSD who's talking to an old war buddy, and he's unhappy with his job. He's unhappy with his mediocre life. And it becomes more and more apparent. He talks about things like the meritocracy, that the social credit score that we warn about, right? The one that's already taken place in China, that has been suggested for the United States, that really Apple and Google already have one for you based on big data, right? All that. Well, that's implemented in this. And it's a story about, that first episode, this guy, at least you think, who's come back from war, and he's talking to his buddy who's behind him, okay? And he's trying to, get further in society. And at the very end, he crosses paths with Dolores, because he also is a petty criminal to just try to keep his head above water. And all that's done through, still phones, but all these different apps. People have implants, earpieces. That's the new base technology for human beings, okay? Self-driving cars, all that's here. Automation is very big. Robotics is very big. Now, it's later revealed that, the guy behind him has actually died, and he's talking to low-level artificial intelligence who's impersonating his friend. And in actuality, that low-level artificial intelligence is just really telling him what the system wants him to hear. So he unsubscribes at the end, all right? So the world, and by the way, there's a ton of amazing symbolism throughout all of this show. And I mean, you could do video after symbolism, but now that we're on the outside world, there is an artificial intelligence that's so great. It's called Rehoboam, and it is Rehoboam. I hope I'm saying it right, which is basically managing society and managing human beings. And by the way, yes, that is an eyeball you're seeing, right? You see the reflection off the water, the building. I mean, this talks about surveillance. And one of the things that they talk about heavily in the first couple seasons, can these hosts break their loops or their programming, right? Well, now on the outside world, humans are basically programmed, okay? And in reality, the way that the park was trying to create basically this transhumanist movement, people with the ability to upload their consciousness, is they were taking the park's consciousness. All the visitors were having their thoughts, their actions fully recorded and uploaded. Okay? That's what the real thing of the park was for a company called Delos. I just want people to know about that, because we're going to get into the Man in Black. And, I didn't want to ruin too much for those that haven't seen it, because it's an amazing show, right? So anyway, with this Rehoboam, and this is it right here, and this is built by separate people. We'll get into it. It's controlling lives, right? And, this guy's life, again, is him next to an automation. Now, I want to show some representation here that I think is important. Notice the red helmet next to the white box here. And remember, it went from white to red. And I really think that white and red in this really do mean something, right? Because when you look at the red ball, it's the one half host, half half human being. It's Bernard, it's Arnold, right? So all that's there, and I think that's alluding to that's what this person really is, okay? And we find that out when it's revealed to him that his entire life has basically been decided for him. Okay, and this is where he's talking to Dolores, and then she relives a moment where he's abandoned by his mother, and he throws up a strawberry milkshake, and they really focus on that. And to me, it's red and white meeting each other for pink, because we don't know who this person is, right? And his mother, in this story supposedly abandons him, and then later she's presented as somebody, she has some kind of schizophrenia that doesn't recognize him either physically, and says, "You're not my son." All right? And all of this false narrator stuff is revealed that at least Caleb at some point went through re-education. Okay, and yes, that's another thing that is prevalent in this. Re-educating those rogues that are outside of the system. And often that Rehoboam system is represented by that white circle that is in the thumbnail behind him. Okay, and the creator of that, he has a watch where he can see things on it, and it basically predicts the future. And it's very good at that. There are anomalies, and that's what that's reporting on. Now, I know there's a lot of theories out there that Caleb is Sirach, who created this Rehoboam, Sirach's brother. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. And remember, in the first episode, he has a gun pointed at his face, talks about the soldier stuff a lot, and he says it's not even the first time he's been shot. Now, maybe he survives that, but remember, there's also flashes of him taking his own life, which is what Dolores reveals to him. And basically, Dolores wants to get into the system of Rehoboam so she can reveal to everybody what Big Data has now predicted and hemmed their lives toward. And spoiler alert, they do that, chaos ensues, right? But there still wasn't huge hints. You know, it could have been a host. You know, he could have been just reprogrammed, right? We have now flashbacks where there seems to be somebody else there. We have what was said to him by Liam before he died as he scanned him. And he said, "You don't even know who you are." Remember, they also had an implant under his mouth. Now, we're going to get into that in a minute. The Man in Black, okay? At the only thing that really points to this also being true is that the Man in Black may be both human and host. He may have also been a test. Remember, he looked for it, didn't find it, you know, ends up killing his daughter. But at the end, or in the sequence when they take his blood, they say there's an unidentified sequence in there. Unknown protein. There it is. Okay, so that unknown protein, okay, was in his blood. And they make sure you see that. Now remember, at the end of season 2, the after credit scene, he's seen talking to his daughter about fidelity in the same room, and she says, "This is what's left of your world," and everything looks, you know, there's dirt everywhere. It's obviously sometime in the future. Remember, Dolores says she wants to destroy this world. She's the one, you know, at some point where maybe the Man in Black is taken out, because remember, he sees himself coming down. This is while the park is being destroyed, and maybe she replaces him with a half host, half human hybrid. Maybe he was one to begin with. But remember, that theme is also there with Dolores and Bernard, who she let live. So I really believe that the big reveal is Caleb, because we got one ball left. We know that 3 of those balls were replicas of herself, I believe. And we also know that she can replicate human beings that are already alive, as she took out, you know, not only Charlotte Hale, but the Liam's protector there. So if Caleb would have died and still had some of his life, or some of his memories, etc., maybe she decided to take him and make him into that half host, half human. That's my take on it, guys. Hopefully you dug the video, and hopefully you're going to check it out, because all these themes are very real ones. And it really speaks a lot to what people are trying to push for the future. I don't want the type of future that is in Westworld. I can tell you that right now. So, guys, if you want to support my work, hit the GoFundMe, $5, $10, $15. Big donors, please. We got to hit that $5,000 mark. 10 more days to do so. I think we're going to be able to do it. I really do appreciate that, especially in these tough times. Remember, I'm a documentary filmmaker. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture. All free right here. Thumbs up, subscribe. Lost a lot of subscribers. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to continue to tell the truth and tell it my way. And you can challenge me, but you can't challenge the facts. And I'll be doing a video later today with John Fitch, Mixed Martial Mindset, at 6 p.m. Remember, I go live tomorrow. Oh, it's my content management on Rockfin. So if you sign up for Rockfin, rockfin.com, by the way, / Jason Burmis, you'd get all of the free content just for free. You can follow me right here, right? But then, like this one, this throwback, which is a must-watch, interview with Johnny Vedmore, which YouTube is censored in Spain and Italy now, I believe. Okay, and then the premium stuff, you get me, but you get all the other creators. So please consider going up and just signing up for Rockfin. Also have a Minds account, minds.com/Jason Burmis, posting stuff there as well. I just want to say I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thumb it up, and I'll see you on the flip.